Spurs 2-0, bro.
You heard that right. Hey. People, you heard that right. We got a damn clean sheet. Spurs did not concede a goal today. We had a very young back line. And I think, like we touched on in the game, it was a hard-working performance, one that not many people expected. Ange changed up the tactical way that we approached the game, got really deep, defensively compact, and we just worked on, making sure that we just got those balls away, just kept deflecting, clearance after clearance, heading away those crosses. And look, we worked our way through it. It was 1-0 for a long moment of the game, for about an hour. And then, look, Sarr come on, good little move from Sonny, played the ball into the half space, and we got that second goal that eventually gave us that relaxation. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean...
14th in the table. How does it feel, Ash?
Who would have thought, hey, not me. But look, Tottenham did get that 3 points, and there's not really much to talk about. It was a game that lacked a lot of quality, in my opinion. In the final third, both teams flattered to deceive, and when we had our moment, we took it. I think that's what it boils down to. And shall we just talk about the goal straight away?
Yeah.
Because that was the difference maker. The first goal, of course, in the first half, it came from Son Heung-min, and it was one of those special whip crosses that he likes to do, man.
Yeah, one of those really good balls into the box where he whips it into that area where it's so hard for the keeper to get because it's within the 6-yard box. But a lot of players, as we saw against Tottenham last season, they took advantage of Vicario's weakness. And if you put a lot of players around the goalkeeper, it's going to create these moments of where we saw against Manchester United, Onana got confused. And then we saw yet again today, the keeper couldn't move in front. The ball goes off the back of Janelt's back. And look, sometimes you need it to be a bit lucky. You need the ball to fall into your way. And that's how we got the lead today. I mean, outside of that, did you think that Brentford were dangerous today? Was you ever scared that they were going to get that?
No, I didn't really see a lot of threat. I mean, in the first half, yeah, there were some moments where they were crossing balls into the box. They were doing diagonals. They were getting a few set pieces here and there where we had to defend. And I'm looking at the attacking momentum bar, meaning how much of the ball they had to create actual chances. It wasn't a lot of clear-cut chances, in my opinion. It'd be interesting to watch it back and to see, like, the actual chances they did have, like where Kingsley was tested. Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I saw 1 or 2 saves, but it was nothing where I was like, oh my days. I mean, Visa obviously did have a big chance,
big opportunity,
and he didn't take it.
Yeah, it's probably one of those ones where you'd expect him to equalise on every other day, but fortunately for us, he put the ball over the bar, and it did come from one of those crosses that were really dangerous. The ball just was falling to their players, and they had that one earlier, just before, where they were warning us straight off the back of that second half, and Kinski got to it. But look, I think we were really well to defensively be resolute, and like I said, not really open up too much and give them the opportunity to have those clear-cut opportunities, because every other game, I feel like every team opens up against us.
Yeah, I mean, considering the defence we had, and I know we've been playing with this back line for a while, I think the defenders did pretty well as a back line. You've got Djed, Spence, who we gave man of the match. Sky Sports agreed with us. Then you look at the performance of the Archie Grays, the Ben Davies, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Archie Gray playing as a right-sided centre-back and a left-sided centre-back with a left foot playing in the right position. It seemed like it was working well. And then Porro, again, as you mentioned, he's not pushing too high up. Yeah. He's not getting caught in behind. So that's putting less pressure on all the 3 other centre-backs. It's not putting as much pressure on the midfield or whoever's playing the DM role. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The fact that we had 2 experienced players in that position, Bentancur and Basuma, as opposed to Mata Papasar, and Bergvall. So that dynamic in itself, I felt we looked a bit more assured. Even though they did have a lot of the ball, it was just managing the energy, because I don't think we was as gung-ho in terms of pressing.
No, we wasn't.
Aggressive.
I think you saw in the second half when those players did come on, the Papsar and Bergvall, even it looked like the instruction was to not be so aggressive in those moments. Maybe take your time, and you're only going to press when they have those heavy touches, and we didn't really do that in the second half. I think the team got really compact again, and like you pointed on there, the midfield, Bentancur, his work off the ball was really good today, constantly closing down, winning those those 50-50s, because a lot of the time the game was full of it. It was a lot of 50-50s. It could have went either way a lot of the times, but we done really well in midfield to make sure that we won those battles. And Basuma, I can't really say that he had a bad performance or a good one, but when he was on the pitch, moved the ball pretty well at times. I think could have done better. But Brentford, to be fair, you've got to give it to them. They was at home. They did make it really cagey. They have a really good home record for a reason, and it was a tough game.
It was. I know it's funny, but I looked at last season's stats as well, and again, we gave up quite a lot of possession against Brentford. But the difference is at home, we ended up beating them. Was it 3-1 we beat them?
Beat them at 3-1 this season.
Yeah. So I said it at the start, possession is not always key, and you can win a football game in different ways, and I think we showed that today. Because some people, we've been criticised saying, did we switch it up, or was it the opposition that kind of dominated us? And Brentford aren't really known for having like heaps of possession, if that makes sense. They're more of a team where they like to counter-attack.
Usually.
And so we kind of did the opposite. The only thing I would say to critique us is, which made sense because we do have tired legs and we don't have a lot of energy in reserve, is that when we did move up the pitch in the final third, we did look very poor.
Yeah, the quality was definitely lacking there. And I think you could look at it and say maybe the players were leggy. Definitely in Sonny's case, and maybe Kulusevski, they were lacking that quality in the final third. But I think it's one of those ones where it's clear to see, look, last final days of the transfer window, we need something to happen in that area. We do have players coming back from injury, but we're just lacking in that quality and experience. And
who have we got to bring on? There's no like explosive wingers or no one with real attacking threat to bring on to stretch the opposition. Do you know what I mean?
And we saw in the moment that we did, just there, Scarlett was the only player that we could bring on, and there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, but when Sarr did come on, because that was the difference, wasn't it? Sarr came on and just talk me through that goal, because we did mention about the build-up play and how patient we were, as opposed to being gun-ho and rushed. Yeah,
like you said, there was that moment when we caught them in the counter-attack. We could have, started to attack and really penetrate the back line, because I think it was a 4v5 at the time. But Bergvall wins the ball, just puts his foot on the ball to slow the play down, turns it back, works it back to the goalkeeper, and then we work the ball down that left-hand side where the team, because Brentford start to push up, then you start to see the team open up with spaces. So the ball comes to Sonny, one of those players come out of position, tried to press and into the half space. Great ball, to be fair. And this is one thing what we spoke about is during the game when people are saying, is Sonny finished? Is Sonny... I think these are the moments where you just start to see those experience, the IQ. He knows which passes to make.
The weight of pass.
And it was the weight of pass. Yeah, it was just so key into him, and Sarr just flicking it through the goalkeeper's legs. It was class.
Easier for Sarr to finish. He had less work to do. Sarr again composed in front of the keeper, puts it through his legs. And Sarr's been having a lot of criticism, and I'd be one of those people where I put a lot of critique on him as well, myself. I think like of late he has been sloppy in possessions, giving the ball away, but he had a knock, he had an injury of late. So you could argue that fatigue has settled in, and that's why a lot of our performances throughout the squad have been up and down. And there's been a lot of people we have looked at. I felt Kulusevski faded as the game went on, in my opinion. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think one thing I've noticed with Kulusevski a lot recently is he's definitely one of those players. I feel like he's dying on his legs, man. He's literally dying out there. He needs help. He needs rest, and there's only so much he can do. But as you do see, even in those moments, he does offer just that trickery which we don't have from any other player, and he can put a really good delivery into the area. So as much as he didn't have a great performance today, in some key moments, he done exactly what we needed.
Guys, do not forget to hit that like button. And also, if it's your first time watching, please do subscribe. Obviously, I've got my boy here, Durag Diaries. If you want to know where he is, make sure you check it out, Durag Diaries. You can catch me on Spurs Kings TV. I've got to plug my channel as well, through the stream, but it is what it is. I'm still trying to do the job for the boys. We Are Tottenham TV is such an amazing channel, so do make sure you hit those likes as well. But it was a case for me of defence winning the game as opposed to attack winning the game. And do you think Ange is learning then on the job? Is he learning another side of his game? Did he have this side of him already? We just didn't see it, or do you think it's circumstantial? The reason why he's playing like this, like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a bit of both. I think there's circumstantial due to the players we have available. He knows that he can't build out from the back and play the way he wants to play, and plus, because we don't have that many players available, when we do have some of these players come back, I still think he's going to take this approach because he's seen this work. So one of our best performances this season was against Manchester City. We played this way exactly. You know, we got deep and exploded on the counter. But yeah, I would say that I lean on the defence today, and he's recognised that in a few games. Definitely recent. I'd say probably only over the past month we've really started to see him make these tactical changes, start to pull the fullbacks inside a bit more to help the defenders, telling the midfielders to drop in and play in a double pivot at times together. So it's good to see these tactical changes. Sometimes they're not enough, but let's see, because in the next game, again, we can only speak about it so much. He's coming up against this season, one of the best tactical managers we've seen. Arne Slot is been really good at making those changes, and he has a Liverpool team that makes adaptations every single game. And
we saw it there in that game as well. Thomas Frank was tweaking during the game, like, and we're like, Ange, can you tweak as well? I'm joking. But like we grinded out the result. In my opinion, it was an ugly kind of, not ugly, but it was that kind of rough around the edges type of win where, as I said before, we didn't really do too much in possession, but we did enough and we defended well. Especially that box, they were throwing balls into the box. They were crossing balls in play. Corners, free kicks as well, and Kingsley as well, claiming some of those corners, punching the ball out. Richarlison heading the ball out, protecting that box. You've got, when Bergvall came on, he was doing well to defend those headers. You know, there's many more players I haven't mentioned that did a job. You know, and that's what you need. You need concentration throughout the 90 minutes. We were talking about managing the minutes as well.
Yes.
We got through like the first 5 or 10 minutes. Then we were like, can we see it through into the next 20 minutes? There was times when Brentford were on top, and I did see that we did play at the back a couple of times, and it got a bit spooky. I'll be real. Like, I felt like goosebumps, like back in the day, where when Kingsley played it out and it didn't quite get to Basuma, and they got the ball and they got a chance off the back of it, I thought, is this a sign of things to come? Or can we keep our nerve and hold on and play ourselves out of trouble?
I think, it was very, very similar to the way that those last, I'd say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes went in that Hoffenheim game, if you remember. Hoffenheim were just penetrating us. They were just constantly putting balls in the box, but they ended up scoring a few. This game felt like that, but at the same time, I feel like defensively we were a lot more solid, and like you said, Davies was really key to this performance and had done some really good work in that back line.
Talking a lot as well.
Talking a lot, speaking to the players. At times, the high line was it was doing its thing, and there was some dangerous balls coming over the top when Brentford were playing over the press, but we managed to deal with it, and the pace that we had from our two fullbacks, they saved us.
I think the main takeaway for me is, and we've been seeing it as well, there hasn't been such an inversion. By the way, guys, if you guys agree or disagree with us, please make sure you come on and have your say, because this is post-match settings where you come along and you say what you've got to say, whether you thought Ange adapted, if you think Ange has been adapting anyway, or do you think Spurs played poorly today? Was it one of those ugly wins, or was it a great gutsy performance? Was it resilience? Like, how do you perceive this 2-0 win against Brentford? Should we be winning against Brentford? Like, what's your expectations? Can we get into that top 10 from here? Is this something where we can build off the momentum off the back of this? And more importantly, can we beat Liverpool? Because that's our next game. That's what I want to know. Can we take this performance to Liverpool? How are we feeling as a fan base? Do you know what I mean? We needed some positivity in this, our second win back-to-back. But yeah, man, like, what's your thoughts, bro, going into Liverpool? I mean, we still are shy a few players. Like, you saw the nursery settings in the bench.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm feeling. I've been confident for this game for all month. Whether it's just because of how we played in that first game and then going into this one, I'm just thinking, look, I just keep reminding people like we don't need to win. We don't need to win this game, and so I think when we go into it, we hopefully Romero, Van der Ven play back. If not Van der Ven and Danso, we've got a new centre back pairing that we can look at and be a bit confident for. I feel like that we could deal with Liverpool's attack. They've got a few players missing. Mohamed Salah is always going to be a danger, and there's nothing where we can do to stop Mohamed Salah. But I think that they're going to make a few changes that we've seen in the last couple rounds of the EFL.
You say Spence versus Salah? Is that
that's what happened last time. I remember a certain man was in the back pocket. That's all I'm going to say. If Spence went home, he emptied out those keys, he emptied out that change, and then Mo Salah. That's all I can say.
I hear it. It's key battles going on. Gravenberch, obviously, against maybe one of our midfielders, meaning, maybe, I don't know, depends who starts in that midfield role. Like today we had, Kulu was the main man. What did you think of also Mikey Moore? Because he did start on that right-hand side for us.
Yeah, I think Mikey Moore may have come off just because on that right-hand side he does struggle a bit. I think when he's standing up his man, that's when he creates moments and that's when he's really himself. But there was very limited times in that first half where we worked the ball out to that wing and he can sort of do that touchline play. I think on the left-hand side he's so much better because he cuts inside of his
Using
right.
the right foot,
He's more comfortable. But when he comes in on off the right, struggles a bit and struggles to find himself into that game. But
do you think that's why Brennan has some of that same issues? Because he's a right-footed winger on the right, not able to drift in and cut in the same way as.
I think,
or do you think it's a different? I'm not comparing the two, but I'm seeing a similar issue, if that makes sense. Where I spoke about earlier, Aston Villa, he was able to cut in on the right foot, beat his man, but on the right he doesn't cut in or he doesn't overlap as much, and you just saw it against Gray. Every time Moore got the ball, if he was going to take his man and stand him up, he would kind of use his left foot and then drive towards them as opposed to go on the outside to beat them.
I think with Brennan Johnson, for me, he's just very limited in his game in general. I think his crossing isn't that good. It's unreliable.
Because that floater ball that Moore did was
he's working it, and he can do that. I've seen him do that in the under 21s, and I've seen him do it for under 17s and Euros for England as well. He's got that on lock. Brendan Johnson can't cross that good consistently. He's not good at taking on his man and doesn't have the confidence to take on his man. His finishing is unreliable. I feel like sometimes he's decent with it, but a lot of the times it looks like the ball's just striking his foot and not the other way around. It looks like the ball's just fall into him. So for me, Brennan Johnson, I don't see a long-term career or future for him at Spurs, albeit that he can be a goal scorer. And I think that he really is or was supposed to be a number 9, but it's just been shifted out on the wing. And that's why you see a lot of his game is off the ball. It's his movement in the area and the places that he arrives into, not really the work that he's doing on the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. But just going back onto Mikey Moore, I just felt like another senior appearance from him, another start as well. I think more minutes, he's only going to learn more, do you understand? About himself, him as a player, and the more he plays and goes against different opposition, he's going to learn about their weaknesses and stuff, what to do. So more for it. But I still would bring in, if we're going to bring an attacking option, if it's going to be, because I know they want a player that can play all 3 positions across that front line. Yeah. But I would like to have a right winger or a right forward that can go on the outside and that can be unpredictable. So if you want to go on the inside, you can. If you want to go on the outside, you want to can. And you can score goals too, not just assist. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if I'm asking too much from the club.
If the club's going to spend money and the club's got the money,
I don't think they're going to spend money. I'll be honest with you. I think it might be a loan deal. I know. I've got a feeling we've spent, because if you think about it, 12 million on what, Kingski?
Yeah.
And then what, this new signing, Danso, how much is that?
20 million. I think it's 20, but it's a loan with obligation. So, look, let's be honest here. it's pennies for a player that we've needed for a while. A position that we've needed to cover for 2 or 3 seasons now. So there's no excuse to not go out there and spend the money. And if they do, and I know it probably will be the story like you're alluding to in the summer. Look, we've signed a player in the January transfer window with the loan and obligation. So that's taken out of our summer budget. But
bro, but